Welcome to another episode of On Foodable Weekly, the Insight series, right here from the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago. Today on this set, we're going to be talking about future food and future brands. And we've got two great experts, of course, a veteran, Mr. Scott Davis. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Paul. Nice to see you.
Now with CoreLife, so very
Absolutely.
cool to see your move over there.
Thank you.
Mr. Steve Schulze, Nekter.
Yep.
I love your juice bars.
Thank you.
They're amazing. When we look at sustainability, first of all, kind of the cornerstone of where new age brands are going, sustainability practices, what are you guys doing?
Well, for us, a lot of that starts with what our consumers are looking for. Consumers in our space are looking to match up their values with their purchases.
Right.
So for us, we're doing a combination of sustainable proteins like antibiotic-free chicken, grass-fed steak. We are making basically everything from scratch in our locations as well. So we have a sort of a combination of products, some local, some regional. So there's a lot of different ways to play sustainability in our space. And it's been going great.
All right, Steve?
Yeah, and I would think a lot of the same. I think that for us, we're a just-in-time inventory, so we have produce delivered every single day, not every single day, but 6 days a week. We get a lot of compostable, so that's one of the challenges we've had because we're going through a lot of produce. We make it all right fresh in front of you. And so as far as compostable, it's a matter of trying to outsource that to various farms and various environmental centers and various features so it can be reused in another capacity, whether it be a soup kitchen or whether it be delivered in some other format. And I think that for the guest, I do think they match up with your values. I think there's a certain culture that you're trying to provide. There's a certain transparency that has to happen, and sustainability is one of them.
There's only a handful of chains and operations that have really kind of walked that walk of somewhat true transparency. It's clearly important. Now the question is, do you guys see this being a major differentiator and driver for your brands, being completely transparent about how you're running your businesses? Scott?
Yeah, for us, it's huge. Our consumer, they really want to understand what's in their food. And we do a lot of work with folks with allergens or different sorts of ways of eating and their needs. And a lot of people need that level of transparency to make a confident choice.
Do you feel that you get credit for that, by the consumer?
I'm not sure if we get credit for it. I think in the space that we're in, it's a requirement really, and it's almost expected. With the various government regulations, once you hit 24 units, you've got to produce your nutritional. For us, we did day one. They just demand what's the sugar, what's the protein, is there anything processed? I think that if you try and gloss over that, it won't work.
So you guys feel like the brands of the future, really, this whole transparency thing is going to be table stakes?
I think it's just second nature. It's just got to come to you, just like walking and talking. Just part of your deal.
Let's look 5 years in the future here, which in the food service business today, that's like light years. What are you guys seeing?
You look out there, I think especially in the retail space today, it's finding ways to differentiate yourself. So for us, we do a lot of yoga events, in off hours of the stores. We've actually become sort of a bit of a platform for folks to come in and learn something about an active lifestyle and how that may apply into your foods. And then also creating content. We do a lot of content creation around that as well.
So that's lifestyle branding, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's a good
and you have a lot of that going on.
To pick up on your point, we're launching a station with Spotify here in a few weeks. And all of our products are made right there in front of you, but secondarily to that is you've got to have that experience. We'll have playlists that will be released for various products and things of that nature.
Let's talk the topic of sourcing and how, this supply chain challenge that the industry is facing right now. But how do we stay up with that especially as you grow your brands, dealing with that kind of situation? You guys see kind of a future there. Your thoughts?
Well, I tell you, it's a challenge. I think today the supply chain for that sort of food product is still early in its infancy. We're finding that there are some products that are easily accessible locally, but the question is, can you distribute them? I think that for most small chains who are growing, there's no time to go to the farmer's market every day.
Exactly.
It's got to come to you. It's got to be at a reasonable price. It's got to be safe. All those sort of conditions have to be met.
We've got around 80 juice bars around the country. We have different produce suppliers, local produce suppliers in every city. But again, the buzzwords is local, natural, this. Now, while the produce supplier may be local, the produce certainly is not. Now, you try to source as much as you can local, but from a consistency standpoint, I still think it's a work in progress.
So we're tracking social restaurant visits with all the top 100 brands. And when we look at the health halo concepts, brands each of you represent, we're seeing SRV, social restaurant visits, upwards in double-digit increase over the last 6 months. Now, what is happening there to cause that kind of adoption?
You know, from my point of view, I think in the last 5 or 6 years, we've had sort of a big change in the workforce. And if you think about most fast casual brands, they really work on the lunch hour as the primary day part.
Right.
And if you go back 20 years ago, the people that were at work, the 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds, yeah, we were in a different world back then.
Yeah.
And you know, for us, it was about the biggest pizza or cheesesteak, and today the people in the workforce have a whole different perspective. You know, the millennial generation, they see food differently. But at the same time, the restaurant industry has been sort of slow to respond. So, you know, if you've only got 30 minutes for lunch, you still go up and down the street, and what you see is fast food alley out there. But this is a generation that's not looking for that. They're looking for the opposite of that. So I think when they find it, it's like, wow. I mean, I know our biggest response we get when we go to a new market is, where have you been my whole life? This is what I've been trying to find.
I think what they're doing is they're simply making alternative choices. You know, depends on what the brand is, but they're steering away from some of the old traditional brands. Again, some of those ones that are trying to shift to the healthier concept but are authentic in that idea. And I think they're sort of jumping ship to a certain degree and going with some of the new, fresh, authentic brands.
Congrats to both of you guys.
Thank you, Paul.
Paul, thank you very much.